Alright, so this morning I want to get the engine started today. So I've got to go to AutoZone and get a couple things. Hose from the turbo drain down to the block fitting. I'm going to look for a dipstick solution as well. I'll probably just cobble together what I got, but yeah. Alright, so here we go. Alright, made a couple improvements here. First thing is I'm gonna come around here, we get better light. I improved on the stand. It was awfully rickety before. Don't worry, this is just aluminum from the housing. I ain't worried about that. Got the starter on. Got the dipstick tube set in there. I just used the old one. It's gonna work fine. Got my oil drain set up. I've got my oil feed and return lines to the oil cooler, and then these temporary lines, although when it's in there, to be honest, this may be sufficient if I can just build a bracket and then this will just mount to the frame. I don't know, we'll see how that goes. Yep, starter's hooked up. No power yet. Yes, I welded my wastegate closed. And now I'm adding 2.5 gallons of oil in the thing. And I'm going to try to get it to spin over and make some oil pressure just on the starter first. Get it primed up. And then I got an engagement I got to go to tonight, so I'm probably going to do nothing. But doing this will at least get me some oil going through here, see if I have any oil leaks, and get me one step closer to getting this thing fired up. So yeah, join me. Well, this is how far I made it until, well, I apparently have to do some more clearancing on my balancer thing. I don't know why it's not lining up as well as it did before, but you can see that I got some marks there. And on the back of the balancer. So I'm going to hit that with the flap disc and clean that up some more. I don't know why, it just feels like it's sitting closer than it did before, but whatever. I got 2 batteries hooked up. My cable is just long enough to reach. Had to remove the boiling water thingy bob. Don't worry, that's just a ground that's running to the block over here to the starter on the block. Starter's hooked up to that big cable, and then I'm using another pair of jumper cables just to trigger the starter. So at any rate, that's where I'm at. I've got an engagement tonight, so I got to put this away, and I don't think I'm going to be able to get to it until midweek this coming week. It's okay. It is what it is, right? Well, how did that get over there? Well, it was very difficult, to be honest. But not too bad at the same time. It was over there. It's over here. There's a destroyed wheel dolly thing. It took some doing, but I got it done. So it's over here. The goal for today is to get the hood off, get the wheels off, set this thing down on the ground. It's really high, obviously. We're going to get that motor out. I'm going to run it on the starter for a little bit and get some oil pressure built up. I'm cheating. I already did that, but I had some weird wiring issues going on. But yeah, so that's the goal, is to get that motor plopped into this engine bay so I can run this in Mexico. So we're shooting for about 30 psi while cranking, which I have on good authority is not nothing. But here we go. I feel like my grounds are not good enough. And my starter is, well, it's cheap. Chinese. It's not hot or anything. Oh, I'm definitely getting oil down there. So I got a leak from somewhere. Where is it leaking? Not here. Not there. Not there. Maybe up here? Oh well. Up from the oil cooler. I don't know. Anyway. Does turn over. I don't have an awful lot of power on that thing, and these are used batteries, and they sat for 6 months, so like I got it down low enough. Yeah, sketch, I know. But I got it down low enough that I can actually do work on the thing. I mean, definitely not sturdy enough. Oh well, super sturdy now. Yeah. Oh well, just a dust shield casualty, no big deal. Okay, so you're gonna join me as I install the clutch assembly on here.
Let's see how it does. You may get confused. Oh, there you go. Right size wrench. Be helpful.
9/16. All right, 9/16. This is pretty self-explanatory. I tapped in the pilot bearing. I replaced this like a year ago. It's in really good shape. I ain't worried about it. But you've got these holes that are marked up. You've got your clutch disc, which is this guy, and this goes on like this. And it kind of gets held in place by the pressure plate. So it's important to get that order right. Line up the holes. If I can get a couple started. So this guy is kind of like the input shaft of the transmission, right? So this goes in here, grabs the fingers, And there we go, it's perfectly centered. There's always a little wiggle room. I don't know why, but there just is. But that's in enough for right meow. Are you kidding me right now? Correct size for my bolts are 9/16. I don't know if you're supposed to use Loctite on these or not, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to use a satisfactory amount of ugga-duggas, as they say. So the reason why this is important is you need to keep it centered as this tightens down, because the natural state of the clutch fingers here, where the throwout bearing rides, is engaged, so that the clutch material is receiving pressure from this plate and the flywheel, and it's all just like going and forced together. When you press the clutch in, it pushes these fingers in, which releases the pressure. So that's the way these things work. Yeah, so that's basically it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and just get a gun on here and zip these guys in, and hold this in place, and then when I pull it out, it should stay in place, no problem. There you go. So true to form, this is now much tighter. I just ran those things down. I'm just going to give them a little pop. Running up on compression. They do have lock washers. There we go. Now I can pull this out. And now, oh, come off there. Magnets. That's perfectly centered in there. And you can see way deep in there is the pilot bearing. But that clutch is not moving. Unless I bump these pretty hard. But not terribly worried about it. So you're kind of threading a needle when you get this motor thrown in. But yeah. Now it's time to put it in here. See the input shaft? That's what it's meant to replicate. Alright, time lapse live. I had to make some modifications to the rigging. I'm sure you can see that. And that's just to clear the hoist. So here's where I'm at now. Getting there. I'm gonna have to get my floor jack up in the air underneath the transmission, just to help them meet together. You can see that the angle of the motor actually tilts back. I tried to use the tilt back device. I may set this thing down and then put that back in. That was the thing that, well, I'll show you if I wind up using it. But I've clearly got to come down about 6 inches or so and then go back. And of course, because these things travel in an arc, this thing is going to come forward a little bit as it goes down, although not too much more. But that's where we're at now. And so where we're at now is I got that leveling doohickey. As you can see, it kind of puts the thing on a tilt. It's kind of nifty. But where we're at now is this. Let's see if I can get you in here. Pretty clear that I've got the input shaft kind of going in the right area. You can see the dowels are kind of aligned. Just need to keep at it. So, one of the things these things are basically, they're arranged in a line straight up, right? But their mounting points are offset. So there's that one and then that one in the back. And that's cool. But sometimes this thing wants to tilt. Let's see if that's straight up and down. It wants to rotate this way. And so what I do is I just set the motor down. Yeah, it's going to screw up the paint, who cares? And then I put an attachment point going across the motor so that I can get the level like this. I can get it back rotated properly. And so as a result of that, what we've got is, let's see if I can get you in here. That's all lined up properly. The dowel's in. I'm happy, as you can see. And then over on this side, it's more or less the same situation. It's slightly got a slight gap. We'll hop under. Sorry, you guys, I'm gonna get sick. And away she goes. So I got a little bit of gap, but honestly, if I put my foot on it and get a bolt started, it should work just fine. There we go. So, yeah, the whole motor's kind of tilted off to the driver's side. Come on now, there we go. Terrible filming. So it's tilted off to the motor side. And really, or driver's side, I could really get a floor jack in on these two, and it'll help press it in together. So that's what I'm going to do. It's been about 2 hours, and I'm feeling pretty good about this. So once I get the transmission and the engine mounted together, then I'll worry about getting the motor mount in, and we'll decide how much farther we're going to go today. I don't know. I'm good, I'm bleeding. Alright, here's the progress. Got the motor plate and transmission all bolted together. Well, not bolted together, they're together. Still need to put the bolts in. I had a mix mash of stuff when I put this together last time, so I had to go to the hardware store, aka Home Depot, and get a bunch of new bolts. My lord, have these guys gotten expensive. $2.75 a piece. I know I'm just complaining, but still, I got the bitching done. So yeah, again, it's bolted together. Well, not bolted together. I'm going to bolt it together right now. And when I'm done, I will start working on getting the motor mounts. Get the engine lifted up once it's all in one assembly, and then get the motor mounts in. So there we go. That's the update.